Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Megan.
And I'm Sierra. I think we have a really fun and exciting video for you guys. I think I got this idea from Emmy. She's a book YouTuber. I'm sure other people probably have done this as well. But Megan and I are going to be trying to go to some of those mini, like little free libraries and seeing if we can find some good books. We're each going to try and find two. And we'll read them and kind of give our thoughts on the whole process.
So basically how it works is when you go to these libraries, you take a book with you and then you leave one so that you can take one. In theory, you could just go like take a book and not leave one, but it's not really in the spirit of it. So yeah.
So we are going to start off with our little book unhaul that we're doing. Alright, so I have two books that I brought with me that I'm going to be unhauling. The first one is Agatha Christie's The Murder on the Orient Express. And I thought this was like the first book that I read all the way back in January of 2021 that like got me back into reading. So I was like, okay, this could be cute if like it got someone else into reading. It's also a classic, so I feel like if someone were to see this in like a little free library, they'd be like, oh, like perfect, I've heard of it. I'm gonna read that if I haven't already. And I know I'm not going to read it again, so yeah, I don't really feel the need to keep it, and I think it would be a good one to put in the box.
Yeah, this was honestly kind of like difficult, not this specific choice, but like Sierra and I like having physical books, so the thought of parting with them was kind of like, it hurt our heart a little bit. Good thing I have this book. This is the only book that I've gotten that I have not been able to finish, and it's because I bought it not knowing that it was part of a series kind of where it's like, technically you could read them single-handedly and like be fine, but I could just tell like this is the 27th book in this like detective girl's story, and like I just could not get into it without knowing the backstory and stuff, because there'd be a bunch of like little tidbits of like explaining back stuff like that I didn't know about to try and make it so I could read this. And so I did not finish reading this book, and I have no interest in finishing reading this book, so that's why I thought it'd be perfect for me to use in this video. And then I am hoping, I don't have another book that I really want to get rid of, so I'm thinking that at my whatever the next book I get from this free library will be the one that I then use to turn into another free library and get my second book.
And then the second book that I brought with me is The Drowning by J.P. Smith. This was one of the other like earlier books that I got kind of in the beginning of 2021. It was an okay read. I think I gave it 3 stars. Pretty forgettable, and I'm not really drawn to keep it. Like I wouldn't recommend it to someone, so I don't feel the need to like keep it in case I need to like let someone else borrow it. So yeah, I'm fine with parting with this one. Alright guys, so here are some of the books that we're seeing. Let's look through and see if we can find any notable ones. I'm just curious what this one has. That was like an old one.
Yeah.
The Outsider. So not The Outsiders.
Dang, I was kind of thinking I could read The Outsiders.
Hi, Carrot. Hi, this is actually a book in good condition, and this was made into a Netflix series. Oh, really?
Not the typical book that I would
Could be something that forces you to pick something else, or at the very least, I'm like, you could always pick books from here and then
reads it.
Let's see what else they have. Stone of Laughter. Death at an Early Age. Does that ring a bell, or am I making that up?
Maybe.
And then Inside the O'Briens.
Okay, so this book is definitely like the nicest one in here, and I like that. So it seems pretty new, and it has a 3.9 on Goodreads, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this one and put my Fortune and Glory book in here. And at the very least, I have a book, but we might go to a couple other mini libraries to scope those out and see what they have to offer.
I don't think I found a book in here that's intriguing enough to me, so we're gonna go to the next one. Okay, we are at our second free library. So, I see Out of America, some other books I don't recognize. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, I read that in middle school, I think. I could reread it. What's this one? Pompeii.
At least it's in good condition.
Yeah. A lot of these books are not. Might be more so children's books. Like this one, fiction, non-fiction. Alright, so I'm looking up Pompeii on Goodreads by Robert Harris. It's got a 3.84, 40,000 reviews. So the breakdown is. It's majority 4-star, which is good. And kind of an even amount of 5-star and 3-star. It's in decent shape, so I think maybe I'll take this one. and leave behind The Drowning. That'll be my offering.
You're at our third one.
Let's see. I see The War Between Classes, Sword of the Right King. Still a lot of books I don't recognize. There's one by R.L. Stine. James Patterson. Alright, the one we just went to is kind of a bust. We didn't spend too much time looking at stuff. It's like, I know you shouldn't judge a book by the cover,
But I so am.
but I do. So, yeah. On to another one. So the one that we're walking up to right now is off of a bike path, and we almost drove right by it because we were like trying to look in front of people's houses because that's where a lot of them are. But then Megan thought,
This seems more promising. I see a Nora Roberts. Morgan's recommended those.
Red Louie. There's another Nora Roberts one. Might look into those.
This one definitely seems like it has some pretty decent books in decent condition.
Some children's books too. Nicholas Sparks. Ooh.
Ooh.
Knights in Rodanthe. Might look into that one. I have to get my Goodreads people's opinions. So they like, and The Help.
Oh.
That could be a good one. And it's in good condition. We're in a pretty nice neighborhood, so I was like, maybe this one has some good ones. What else we got? Theodore Rex by Edmund Morris. Ugh. Wait, this is another Nora Roberts one? No, Norman Cousins, Anatomy of an Illness, as perceived by the patient. That'd be good for class. I'm going to get The Help, which I actually just looked up on Goodreads, and like I know it's probably pretty good since they made it into a movie, but it's got like almost 4.5 as the average rating with like 2 million reviews. So I'm actually excited, which means
It's in pretty good condition.
yeah, it is. I shall turn in Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express so I can find its new home. Okay, final book haul then for the day. I think this last stop was definitely the most fruitful.
Honestly though, like if you have like the time to go and like check out a couple of different ones, like all it takes is one person to have dropped off like one good book.
Yeah.
So it really is just like,
And there's like honestly so many within a like similar radius. You don't have to go very
that's
far.
where we're at. So
Books that we ended up with. I have Pompeii by Robert Harris.
you know what it's about?
I think it's fictional and it's just about like, I don't know, I'm guessing someone's experience like during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. I didn't look that much into it.
I'm sticking with Hillbilly Elegy. It's honestly not that long of a book. It's only like 260 something pages.
You've read nonfiction.
And so I feel like it'll be interesting because this is a memoir. But like it was good enough to make into a Netflix movie.
I didn't even know that. So you could read that and then watch the Netflix thing. Okay.
It only had a 3.9 though, so like I usually pick books that help
for a
me have at
memoir
least a
though,
4.
I feel like that's not bad.
So.
And then I got The Help by Catherine Stockett. I'm actually excited about this one. I think I'm gonna try and read this one first. Okay, I have officially finished reading The Help. So, in case you aren't familiar with the synopsis of this book, basically it takes place in the 1960s, kind of during the civil rights movement, and it follows two black maids, Minnie and Aibileen, and then also a young white lady. Her name is Miss Skeeter. So Miss Skeeter graduates from college and she moves back home to Jackson, Mississippi and lives with her parents. And she was kind of a writer in college and she wants to continue writing and potentially move to New York to become a more serious writer. And so she finds a job opportunity and applies, but she's told that she needs to send something in that's like worth writing about. And that's where she comes up with the idea to write a book sharing the stories and experiences of a bunch of black maids in her town to kind of show the reality of what it's like working as a black maid for all these white families in Jackson, Mississippi. Kind of interesting catch to all this is obviously Miss Skeeter is a white woman and she's friends with all these people who these maids work for. And while she doesn't agree with everything that they do, she's kind of just like comfortable being in the circle that she's been in her whole life. And so the process of her writing the book, getting the maids to be involved with the book, has to be kept very secret and kind of on the down low. And so this book just kind of documents the process of them kind of having to sneakily get together. It shows kind of the changing of the relationships and the dynamics between these characters as they get more comfortable with one another. And then you get to kind of see the book is released and kind of like how do the people in the town react to that. And so I really enjoy this book. I don't read a ton of historical fiction, but I really liked it. I gave it 4 to 5 stars and I'm glad I read it.
Okay, so I just finished reading my first book, and so I thought I'd give you guys a little review. I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5 stars, which was actually, it was a better book than I was expecting it to be. I also didn't have necessarily super high hopes because I don't typically read memoirs. I guess the only other thing I was going to say was that the author is technically a politician, and prior to reading this, like, I don't really know anything about the guy other than I know that he is conservative. This book doesn't really have a lot on like politics specifically. It's definitely a component to it, and he talks about things a little bit, but a lot of it is talking about him and how he grew up, and I thought that was an interesting thing that he touched on, and I thought that his thoughts that he had in how he worked towards upward mobility and what he thinks the problem is in his community, I thought was interesting. So I rated it 3 out of 5 stars. I'm not necessarily looking to read another memoir anytime soon, but I am looking forward to seeing if I can find another book that I like when I trade this one in. I see a lot of Artemis Fowl books, but I honestly don't know what those books are about, and I don't really want to read those, but that seems like it'd be a good option. I found this book that I'm kind of debating. I might go to a couple other ones still, but it does me no good to just like not take a book with me in case I get stuck. So I think I'm going to leave Hillbilly Elegy here and grab this one. Okay, I'm at my second stop. I picked this one specifically because you can kind of see pictures on some of them if you get like the app for all the little libraries. And this one's pretty large, so I'm hoping to find some good options. A dream come true of mine would be to like find a good condition book that was like already on my TBR list, but I just don't know if that's very likely with all of this. Again, this was the one that I just picked up from the last one. So let's see what they have. Some of this, I will say, it's kind of interesting because a lot of these are in front of people's houses, if that's where they choose to put them. So it's just like feels kind of weird to be like stopping in front of people's houses. This one's in a neighborhood, but it's in like a middle cul-de-sac area, so it's not like right in front of someone's house. But some of them have been. They put them there, so obviously like you're allowed to do that, but I'm just like the last house I was at, the person literally walked out and was taking their dog on a walk. They didn't say anything to me, but I was just like, Oh, they have Marley and Me. I've seen that movie. Love is Blind, I've seen that. I'm gonna grab books and then the ones that look interesting, I'm gonna scan them with my Goodreads on my phone. This one looks okay. Okay, I decided to leave the book there and I grabbed Marley and Me. I went through and scanned all the books, and a lot of them were like in the 3s, mid to like low, and this one had a 4.13. So I think I would enjoy this book. I like the movie. I don't know if I really want to cry when I'm reading, and honestly I still am trying to like, I'm really trying to hold out hope that I could find one in my TBR. So I think I'm gonna try like one more and see if I get lucky. This one was definitely better, so I just feel like if I try one more, maybe my luck would pay off, but otherwise I will probably be pretty happy with this book. This one, the books were honestly in pretty good condition, so we're doing good on that front today. Okay, so I just finished reading Pompeii by Robert Harris, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, which honestly, I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. I'm going to read the summary that's printed in the book because I feel like this book is probably not as popular as the other book that I read, and I apologize for any mispronunciations of any places or names because I struggled with that the entire time I was reading this. I just saw while I was recording I had dry shampoo that I hadn't rubbed into my scalp, so if you saw any white or gray on my scalp, that's what that was. All along the Mediterranean coast, the Roman Empire's richest citizens are relaxing in their luxurious villas, enjoying the last days of summer. The world's largest navy lies peacefully at anchor in Misenum. The tourists are spending their money in the seaside resorts of Baiae, Herculaneum, and Pompeii. Probably mispronounced that. But the carefree lifestyle and gorgeous weather belie an impending cataclysm, and only one man is worried. The young engineer Marcus Atilius Primus has just taken charge of the Aqua Augusta, the enormous aqueduct that brings fresh water to 250,000 people in the 9 towns around the Bay of Naples. Whose predecessor has disappeared. Springs are failing for the first time in generations, and now there is a crisis on the Augusta's 60-mile main line somewhere to the north of Pompeii on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius. Atilius, decent, practical, and incorruptible, promises Pliny
the father scholar who commands the Navy, that he can repair the aqueduct before the reservoir runs dry. His plan is to travel to Pompeii and put together an expedition, then head out to the place where he believes the fault lies. But Pompeii proves to be a corrupt and violent town, and Achilles soon discovers that there are powerful forces at work, both natural and man-made, threatening to destroy him. So I actually didn't even read the summary when I picked this book out. I was just like, sure, we'll roll with it. And I'm not normally a historical fiction reader, but I thought the story was pretty good. I struggled with some words in the summary, and that was just a hint of the words that I struggled reading while I was reading this book. One, the names of the characters were very ancient Roman, and it was kind of hard to keep them straight and pronounce. And then two, same with like the places. And I don't know if the author has some sort of, like, he has knowledge about ancient Rome, but there were a lot of words that I felt like were related to ancient Roman times that I was like, I'm gonna pretend I know what that means and just skip by and keep reading it. I thought the story was pretty well told. I did think it was hard to connect to the characters. I had the same problem with Song of Achilles, where it's like, I don't know if it's the ancient times that these are being written in, but I just felt very not connected to the characters, and it was hard to like really care about what was going on and happening to them. That being said, my favorite part about the book is probably in the ending. It kind of like finishes with like telling the story, and then it goes into like modern day lore of Pompeii and Mount Vesuvius, and it kind of like ties back to the story that we just read about. And so I thought that was a cool little touch at the end. But yeah, if you're into historical fiction, maybe you could check this out. Otherwise, like, I usually don't read this kind of stuff, but I thought it was okay. So I finally finished reading Marley and Me, which was my second book that I got from the free library, and so I'm going to talk about what I thought of the book. I ended up rating this one a 3 out of 5 stars, which was honestly pretty much where I expected to be rating this book at the entire time that I was reading it. I guess I just found myself not really reaching for this book each night when I would be like, okay, time to read. I didn't really want to read this book because there just wasn't anything extra or fascinating going on. That's probably more so like me preferring fiction more so than like nonfiction, which is both of the books that I read from the libraries. They weren't bad, I just didn't feel like it was like my escapism that I usually want to experience when I am reading my books. So it wasn't bad. I did not cry actually. It was like definitely sad and towards the end, but I held it together. So I would say if you think that you like nonfiction and you want something that is a little sad, you could read this book, but I will probably, if I end up going to another free library in the future, I will probably use this book as one to trade in because I don't feel like I need to keep it. Okay, so there you have it. Megan and I each read 2 books from a little free library, so now we're just going to kind of wrap everything up, give our final thoughts. I think overall I enjoyed the experience, and I think it's a good sustainable way to seek out new books. Obviously the cons are the fact that you can't like go with like a certain book in mind and be like, I really hope I find this book that's on my TBR. But also if you did find one, then it'd be like that much more exciting, like more exciting than finding it in like a Barnes & Noble or something. Yeah, I feel like my experience overall and how I could see myself continuing to potentially use these in the future is, okay, right now I have that book that I don't necessarily need to keep, so I have a book that I could trade in. So I thought it was kind of fun going to the libraries and actually looking at what books they had to offer, especially because we lived in an area where like there actually were like a lot you could go to and visit. So it was like easy to just like, okay, drive a couple minutes, I can check this one out. And so for this video, obviously we made it so that we had to find 2 books to read. But I could see myself in the future just like bringing a book, going and looking around, and then if I were to find something that I was like, I've been looking for this, or like I've actually like housed on my TBR, then it would be like a really fun experience. But I don't think it's going to be how I regularly go and find my books from now on, because I have books that I know I want to read and I want to read those books. So I feel like it'd be such a fun thing to like see if you could get lucky and find. Especially like that really first day we went, we like made a morning of it. We got some Starbucks and just like we're driving around for a while. So like Megan said, it's just a fun activity to do, even if you don't find books. So we really hope you guys enjoy this video. If you have gone to a little free library, comment down below your experience and like if you do that regularly or not. If you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel down below. Sierra and I also have a podcast called According To that you can find anywhere that podcasts are available. Otherwise, we will see you guys in our next video. Bye.